Hello, I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of ESS BIZTOOLS. Welcome to this update to our subscriber members on the Business Plus edition for February 2022. For those of you who were still on holidays when we sent out our January edition of Business Plus and this accompanying commentary video, may I take this opportunity of wishing you a very happy new year, and I trust that 2022 will be a successful year for you, your team, your clients. There's still plenty of challenges, of course, but the expectation is now emerging that the predictions which we conveyed to you from an American business source in November, December, that there would be a boom conditions in 2022 could well emerge, with the Reserve Bank governor forecasting that unemployment rate will be as low as 3.7% this year, which is a 50-year low indicator. So that could be great, but it's also going to put a lot of pressure on employment until we have overseas students back in Australia, because they obviously do fill a lot of the jobs, especially in the hospitality and accommodation industries. Turning to this edition of Business Plus, which has been uploaded today to our website, so you can now go to it and download and badge the material and send it to your clients and prospects and other people. The first article is Vision for 2022. We're basically starting it by saying Australia is now back in business for this new calendar year because school's gone back. And all around Australia, school children are finally back in the classroom. And let's hope that this can continue for this year without schools, authorities having to impose home education requirements again, because that cannot be good for anyone. The vision for 2022 is asking a series of questions of your clients, and hopefully some of them will respond by contacting you. So you will be asked to supply information and hopefully services relating to business plans, budgets, cash flow forecasts, and general reorganization of a business. We've also referred to capability statements because I think in an expanding economy, they're going to be very important. And even if your client's already prepared a capability statement, it might have been 4 or 5 years ago. Now's a great time to review it in their quality time. And I've used that terminology a few times in this newsletter, trying to encourage the concept within your clients. They do allocate some quality time each day or each week to look at things from their business's point of view. The elevator pitch has also been discussed because I think it goes very closely with the concept of capability statements, the ability of business people to be able to communicate in about 30 seconds to a complete stranger an overview of what their business does is a very important business skill that we all need to develop and then regularly practice and update as things change, refresh it. Thinking about being a business person is an article specifically included to cover someone going into business, but I think most of the other articles this month can also be classified as being important for someone starting a business or buying a business. Most definitely capability statements and elevator pitches are. Federal government grants that may be of interest. This is a new section that we're going to continue each month because we're now updating to you each week the changes which we have made in the material available within ESS BIZTOOLS and ESS BizGrants on government grants. And we're going to pick a couple of those each month to give a brief overview in Business Plus. I was pleased to receive some notifications for some of our clients on the Export Market Development Grant. This is the new grant, the 21-22 grant that indicated that the client had been assessed as eligible for a grant agreement. I thought we should clarify to your clients, to your readers, that that is not the formal approval. It's an email, basically, I think, to try to stop inquiries being made to Austrade as what the status is of the applications which were lodged back at the end of November. And some would have been lodged considerably earlier. It's great that they're sending out a communication to say that it's been passed on to the person in the organisation known as the delegate who has the final approval. But I think we need to caution clients not to go out and start spending the money yet. It's not approved until they've signed the grant agreement, which I understand Austrade intends to send to these people who they've sent this initial communication to in the next couple of weeks. Crowdsource funding, equity raising. I think, as you know, I'm a strong fan of this whole concept of crowdsource funding, equity raising, because it's a way for your clients to be able to raise capital without having to mortgage assets, enter into directors or shareholders guarantees, and make payments of principal and interest. And I think it brings far more accountability within the leadership team and the board of directors, because they've got to think of other people, and they've got to be a lot more aware of the corporate regulations and the Companies Act. $47 million was raised in 2021 fiscal year, which is a record. And we have summarized some of the key industry groups that raised that money. And I think it's great that a company called Thrive raised $3 million in 3 days. That's great. If you get inquiries from clients about crowdsource funding, equity raising, and you're unable to handle those inquiries because you're too busy or you really don't want to get involved in helping people on the journey to be able to raise capital utilizing crowdsource funding, equity raising, I'd suggest you contact another accountant in your area who you know is undertaking this work, or you contact me and I will either put you in touch with other firms who I know are prepared to offer this activity, or our consulting business would be happy to look at supporting your client on that journey, if that's acceptable to your client, of course, and to you. So it's a thought. Please don't send people away empty-handed. They, I think, need assistance. And one of the great disappointments I've had recently is to read a report that's quoting the joint founder of Equitize, Johnny Wilkinson, where he indicated that the intermediaries are only processing applications from 5% of the firms that contact them. On my reckoning, that meant that about 1,550 inquiries, applications were rejected by the intermediaries. Why? I can only assume that it means that the detailed work that was required to be able to put together a crowdsource funding equity raising proposition to get support from an intermediary hadn't been done. Did that mean that SMEs are going off and talking to intermediaries without having business plans, budgets, cash flows, and an understanding of how crowdsource funding equity raising worked? Did it mean that they hadn't contacted accountants to assist them in doing that work because they didn't think accountants were able to assist them, or accountants were too busy undertaking income tax matters. I hope to have a discussion with Johnny Wilkinson from Equitise in a podcast in a couple of weeks' time, and I'll definitely be letting you know when we're going to have that conversation so that you get a better idea of this. But I think there's a great opportunity for our subscribers, at least, because you've got a full package which we keep on reviewing and updating and trying to bring you up to date with anything happening in crowdsourced funding equity raising. There's a great opportunity for you to be able to supply professional advice systems, not services on crowdsourced funding, not only to your clients, but to other people as well. And the last article is maximising the sale value of your businesses. If the Reserve Bank governor is correct, he's probably far more correct than what I am about what's going to happen in the economy in the next 12 months. Unemployment comes to 3.7%. Businesses are going to be very active. I think the sale of business market will continue to expand, and therefore we have an article there which is looking at people wanting to sell their businesses, how they might go about it. If you have any comments, questions, or criticisms of any aspect of Business Plus, please contact me. I wrote it, and I hope it is correct, of course. And I hope that you're proud to be able to send this newsletter, Business Plus, to your clients and prospects. Once again, our best wishes for a very successful 2022 to you and your colleagues. Stay safe. Have a great day. Goodbye.